My name's Aaron. Welcome back to my channel. How are you? I'm fantastic and I'm doing really well. And today, from the house of Giorgio Armani, I'm reviewing Armani Code Elixir. This is £98 for 50ml. Oh no, it's got all this crap in there. So, it's got a green mandarin accord, okay, leather accord, a grilled tonka bean. I love a grilled tonka bean. Do we have our bottles of Armani Code Elixir? All these absolutes and elixirs. Are we engaged with the high self? Let's get testing. So I love the box. I love silver and black. I think there's something really gorgeous about silver, black, white. Really like it, actually. So let's open this exquisite box, see what's inside. I do really like it. I do love black and silver, obviously. It's magnetized inside, but £98, a metal cap or something cool would have been really good. I'm not going on about caps. I think I get so annoyed going about caps, whatever. You know my feelings on it. Love the bottle. So I'm going to apply the fragrance to the air and apply it to myself, and that will check for sillage, volume, all that stuff, and give me a more rounded review. I've forgotten what I was doing then. Let's have a look at the atomizer. Standard. For me, when you're saying elixirs, you are building the fragrance in the most heavy form. You're constructing it in a different way to other parfums or other toilettes. And to my mind, this feels very light for saying an elixir should be the most concentrated form. I think they're now going on to absolute, which is more intense than elixirs, kind of whatever. I'm a bit annoyed at all of this, but for the word, I didn't read any of the spiel, but I imagine it's sort of saying that it's the most concentrated form, because that's what elixir would take me to. I feel this is a little bit light. It's beautifully constructed, but it would be with thousands of perfumers. They would have teams of people doing this. This feels very nicely constructed, but it feels very heartless, and it feels like there's no personality there. Sometimes when you've got one perfumer working on a creation from the start to the finish, it becomes so personal. Your work becomes something that you've worked on over weeks, sometimes months, sometimes years, actually, where you've worked on it and you've worked on bits and come back to it when it gets frustrating. Perfume is very, very frustrating. This feels a little bit like paint by numbers. This feels a little bit like we're just going to chuck an elixir at the end. That's my initial thing. I love the leather compounds and I love the amber compounds in that. So it's actually very nice. Beautifully radiant. You can smell the fruit molecules in there, glutinates, a little bit of lavender, wood-like compounds and citrus. So the leather accord can also be thought of as utilizing the same raw materials that go into a man's tobacco accord. And a lot of those raw materials can be assimilated into it, actually. And that's what I find particularly beautiful about perfumery, is you can take some raw materials and push them in one direction and they transform into something else, and you add a raw material and it becomes slightly more feminine. I really love that, the way you can take an accord of raw materials, add a few things, it transforms into something else. And then you take away something and it transforms into something else. And the sex as well. I really think things become more feminine, masculine, just by adding a few raw materials. Generally, lily of the valley raw materials, some of them quite masculine, some of them quite feminine. Some wood raw materials can be slightly more feminine, sometimes more masculine as well, which I find so interesting, how the brain will perceive something as masculine, feminine, more unisex. This to me feels like painting my numbers, and I think it doesn't feel very exciting, if I'm very honest with you, based upon ISO Super, dihydromercenol, some ionones in there to give that sort of like smoothness and sort of wood violet sort of finish to it. I always think of ionones can kind of give wood violet sort of finish to it. Sort of iris notes, all that sort of stuff I think's in there. It's not particularly vibrant. I mean, it's £100 for 50ml. To me, for 50ml, when you go 80 and up, that's kind of more niche perfumery prices. So I'm expecting a lot more, and I'm expecting you to deliver a lot more. And these perfume houses have got access to everything, and they've also got access to captive raw materials which have been made specifically for them. So you got no excuses. You got all this talent there, and you're coming out with this. Onto my final thoughts. Really disappointing, I've got to say, because I love commercial stuff. I really enjoy commercial fragrances sometimes. Like, I've got my £30 range, and sometimes on my day off I really don't want to smell of anything. Actually, I kind of get the last thing I want to do is smell a perfume. I just want to smell nothing at all. Really, really neutral. or like heavily moisturized with nothing actually. Sometimes if I'm doing something where I think, oh, right, I'm going to have to meet up with friends or meet up with something or do something, I'll put something really commercial like my Legend Plus, Odyssey, Aura, all that stuff is so commercial. So I really love it. I love commercial formulas. This to me smells like half-hearted and just chucking something else and sticking the Elixir name on it and, you know, all right, and it's just going to sell. It doesn't really feel innovative. There's no twist on it. This DNA smells so done. I mean, it just doesn't smell different. This could have been from 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It's not transporting me. It's got no story. It's got no Perfumer attached to it. It's kind of feels like not where Perfumer is moving to. I would have loved an accord that's different and exciting, and they could have taken this DNA and added an alcoholic note. They could have added a spice note. They could have added something and made it really interesting. And instead, this smells like thousands of other things. It smells like everything else. And nearly £100 for a 50 ml is reaching for quite a lot of money. And this smells like the quintessential corporate perfumery. Faceless, no real taste in there. Just smells nice. And for 100 quid, if this had been 60, 56, I would have been totally different about this. But for me, it's a £100 fragrance. And I think this is a miss. And I think there's so many other fragrances out there that can do this better. And it's not even dark. It's kind of got darker notes to it. It's so adjacent to everything, so unoffensive, so frightened to have a personality, so frightened to be exciting. It just is so scared and timid and really not for me. And the price is kind of out there and it just feels a bit like a miss. Done, forgettable, back of the rotation, just another thing. And really, I would expect £100 to me is a lot of money and I would want a lot more for my money. And this is going to pale in comparison to other fragrances, and it's really, yeah, I've smelled this before and it's really uninspiring. I think it's a 4 out of 10. Really not for me. I think the price is really, in my opinion, the price is way out there. I don't think it's exciting. I don't think it's different. I don't think it's unique. I think it's capitalizing on this brand, and they have got the talent, they've got the raw materials, and they've got the money to really do something different. And this feels like forgettable, capitalizing on the Armani name. And I think it's such a shame. And I kind of want more for your money. But on a plus side, I think it's very wearable, very nice, all ages, all men, all occasions. You could wear this to the gym, you could wear this out, you could go everywhere with it. But for me, it's forgettable and it's not unique. And next. So I hope you loved that review. Thumbs up and subscribe for more fascinating, interesting content, lots of moving hands, and lots of fragrance reviews. Hope you're staying safe and well. See you soon.